Okay, ladies, I am seriously freaking out, but also super excited about this leap that I have taken to really shift where it is that I'm taking my business and my body of work to evolve. Because really, how it works is that we need to continue evolving in every area of our life or we stay stagnant. So for me, as I've said in a previous episode where I talked about the new direction, similar message, is that I have evolved out of wanting to harp on the narcissistic abuse realm of things. That doesn't mean that it's not valuable. It doesn't mean that I regret focusing 6 years of my life just helping women in those types of relationships. And it was rewarding, and I have met so many beautiful souls that I have witnessed walk through the fire and come out the other side. And I feel grateful that I have been able to do that and to be a part of some of your lives. If you've worked with me or just through the podcast, sharing what I know about experiencing that for myself as well. But what we are doing is we are moving on, and we are moving into the high value women era. And I have created the group switch of our main group. It is now going to be discussing high value women behavior and what that means. And to me, what that means, you may have heard that term. And so it's not coined by me by any means, but I really like it because just even saying that, I value myself. I have a high value for myself. It reminds us, is this high value behavior, right? Is this behavior that a woman that values herself and has healthy self-worth and self-esteem, is this how she would be behaving? Is this what she would be allowing in her life or relationships? And so for me, and my take on that is that it means we know our value and it's how we are now. We're not trying to get to some perfect place. We know that we are a constant work in evolution, that to be evolving means that there's going to always be something we're working through. So it doesn't matter what your past is, what your flaws are, or any of what you've been through. You can throw that to the side and choose today to be the day that you walk past all of that and you choose to start a new path and you choose to claim what it is that you want in your life. The other premise around this work that I will be teaching is that we do not need a man or anyone else to make us feel better about ourselves. We are dedicated and devoted to ourselves first. Then, from a place of fullness, we invite a partner to enhance what we have already built for ourselves, but only if they meet our critical criteria for a healthy, safe partner that we can grow with. That's the key. So there is all of this feminist messaging, right? Of women don't need a man, we can take care of ourselves. And while that is true, and while that has led a lot of us out of bad situations to actually having to figure our shit out, it doesn't work very well when we're in a relationship with a man if we want to have a polarized relationship. I'll be talking about this too more because I've been studying this a lot and really obsessing over it because I love it. I think there's extremes to it. I think some of it sounds kind of cheesy and ridiculous, but there's some aspects to it that I really like, that in the beginning when I was learning about this and reading about it from a couple of people who have large followings and books and all that, is I was triggered by the idea that letting a man lead and take over and guide was control, right? When you have a fear of being controlled again, that right there is really hard to just kind of take more of a bit of a back seat, which is hard for some of us if we are leaders, we are CEOs, we have always been a get shit done woman, we're driven, we just do it all, right? We can do it all. But until we burn out, until we hit a wall or our health fails or something happens that brings us to our knees, or maybe multiple things that at one time lead to this awakening where we realize, I don't want to do it all. I was just feeling that today as I am dealing with business stuff and corporate stuff that I had to paperwork, financial stuff I have to get in order, getting my girls to where they need to be. So driving everywhere, and my weeds in my garden, I've got weeds just growing out sideways. It's I have to do that. The house needs taking care of. There's, I want to walk and exercise and take care of my body and make sure I'm eating well. And there's other aspects to that too, right? It's I can do it all, but I was feeling it today. I don't fucking want to do it all. I don't want to do it all. Yes, I can do it all. I've proved that to myself, right? We can like wear that lovely badge to be like, yes, I can do it all. But then, that can be a lonely journey. And so we invite to have a partner come in to enhance what we are already doing, or to take some of that load off, and to guide us and help us in ways, right? So we're going to be talking a lot more about this, and my plan is to get a subscriber only podcast out where we're talking more about this kind of stuff, that it's going to be a paid gateway podcast that is more about maybe a little more, of my own personal experience, my own personal journey through all of this, that is just for those who really want to know this and want to be part of that insider. So that's something that's coming. So some of the topics that we're going to be discussing here in the next coming months are being a relationship-centric woman. And I know that you can probably relate exactly to this. I was so like this. It's like a recovery process in itself to not be, fully centered around a relationship or a man. And if you have been in an unhealthy relationship, you know what that's like, how everything is centered around that person. And then you get into another relationship and it's like fully your whole life is just, absorbed by that person. Like you don't have a sense of self anymore. And so we're going to work on that. We're going to work on making sure that you're self-centric. That doesn't mean narcissistic and selfish. It means I have my standards, my routines, the things that I need to thrive and be happy. And those come before a relationship, right? There's certain things. And it's also, we need to learn how to not allow our worth, happiness, and fulfillment to revolve around a man or a relationship. Remembering that having a partner, a healthy partner that brings spice, that brings goodness to your life, brings fun and adventure and laughter and good times, as well as they're there for you emotionally. They're there to support you logistically and emotionally, like they'll jump in and they will help you, right? That's icing on the cake. It can't be our entire universe. And so for those of us that tend to become very hyper-focused on a relationship or a man, we need to heal that. We're also going to talk about how to heal and move on from relationship betrayal, because it does impact our ability to have a healthy and good, safe relationship moving forward. How to become a woman that knows her value and will walk away when her peace and spirit are being suffocated by a relationship. How to know that, right? How to know that, and how to make sure you really vet a man before you do anything like commingle, blend your family, move in, sell your house. Like, I just see so much in this space. I've been in it for so long, and in Facebook groups, just to I just watch and witness what's going on. And holy smokes, right? It's like so many women they leave one thing and then they jump into another full on. Kids are in it. They're in a new house. They're blending within the first 2 years and it's all going to shit, right? Or the women are realizing, oh my God, this guy is toxic. This is not going well, or he doesn't like how I parent. I don't like how he parents. One woman was sharing that her new husband's kid was stealing her stuff. Like, holy smokes, right? We need to pace ourselves and really learn, like, we don't need to jump into anything like that head first. You can take your time. And we're going to be talking more about this. Then also on top of this, we're going to learn how to create a life that we know we will be okay. We will get over it. We will be able to bounce back if a relationship breaks down ever again. So if some of you have come out of a relationship where you were maybe financially dependent, or there was lots of intermingled everything and it was really hard to get out, how do you create the next one with that new wisdom? How do you go into it with that learned experience, so that if it does, because the reality is most relationships will end, right? We have this idea that our relationship should last forever and ever, our whole lives. And yes, that can happen, but it's rare, especially if one person is growing, the other one isn't, or they were misaligned to begin with. But we can always learn lessons along the way regardless. It doesn't mean a relationship was a mistake if it doesn't last forever. But I think just as society, we think getting married equals moving, being together for life. Then there's also those of us, not me included, but I've seen women that are like, I'm on my third marriage, my fourth marriage. Like, slow down. You don't need to jump into marriage. Like, I really want to teach women how to be in that high value space of like, how do I vet this person to know if this is worth giving my all and doing that whole blind, like diving right in off the cliff. You have to take your time. You have to take your time and heal that part of you that's like, I just want a relationship. I just want to do it now. I just want to live together and la la la, right? Or the worst is, let's live together to save money, right? No. Do not ever move in with a man to save money, or if they are without a house and they can't afford their own house, don't take a man in. Holy smoke. So I have so much to say, so much to say on this. Another topic I'm really excited to talk about is getting your money shit together. This is really important as women. And for me, as a six-figure business owner, I have learned a lot and I have made a lot of mistakes. And I wish I could go back and learn what I know now, that it isn't about how much you make, it's about what you do with it. And I will admit, I have never been super good with money, and I did a lot of spending, not enough, like investing and like looking for my future and saving for my future. Like making that kind of money, I was not smart with it. So I'm embarrassed to say that, but hey, I'm probably not the only one that's experienced that. And so now I am like, one of my main focuses is getting that area of my life straightened and figuring out investments and playing around with them and saving for my future and forward thinking about my future. So it's really, how do we do that as women when maybe, for me, I was always like, I'm not good with money, or I would turn a blind eye to it. Whereas now I'm like looking at it, facing it head on and dealing with the stuff. And I know you could probably relate to that. As women, we're not always the greatest with that. And so we need to get that straightened out. Also dating after a string of or long-term relationships and the absolute disaster you might be in your first healthier relationship. We're also going to talk about awakening at midlife, my musings around this, and how to prioritize our body and health in our 40s and 50s as we start a new relationship intentionally with kids and all the complexities involved, because it's a lot. And how do you date with kids or teenagers in the house? Maybe you are like many women in this community, you're pretty much solo parenting. The other parent is kind of just there. They blow in, they blow out. They're there for convenience at times when they feel like it. And you are full-on, full-time mom and dad. How do you have a dating life? How do you even have a relationship with all that? So much to say around that. And there's so much more really with that. So these are things that you'll see me posting about and writing emails about, but these are the topics we're going to be getting into in the premium podcast that I'm creating. Again, this is more for insiders, for women who really fit this type of woman. You are successful, you're making money, you just feel like you're very unfulfilled in other areas, and you tend to just end up in these unhealthy, unfulfilling, toxic, chaotic relationships. We need to stop that. So I will say too that I'm not a dating expert, because I certainly did not do a ton of dating. I did some, but I certainly learned a lot. And I also worked with a dating coach. Like, I will hire coaches. That's one thing as a high value woman I know I'm worth investing in. And so I had a dating coach to help me in those first months of doing this, because I had no idea. I had no idea what I was doing. So she was awesome. But I did learn a lot about dating as a 40s woman. When you have kids, how do you prioritize, your kids, your home, and then not feel guilty about moving on and dating and kind of moving your life along, right? There's a lot of stuff that goes along with that. And you'll have unhealed baggage. It's the reality. Whether you avoid dating for 4 years or 5 years after a separation or divorce or not, you're still going to have baggage in the next relationship and dating. It just is. And it's those relationships that shine a light and mirror back to us what we need to heal. We'll look at it and go, oh, here I am attracting this kind of craziness again, or this type of person. And you can go, that's it, I'm done, and cut it off. And seeing your own unhealthy patterns where you want validation, where you're scared of being alone, where you don't like to be alone, or that you need that, you don't want to be by yourself kind of thing. So you'll just take any man as long as it's attention, right? Ladies, we need to get that healed as well. So lots coming, and I hope that you're excited. If this is the era that you're in, I have something for you to get more on the inside of what I'll be bringing to you. There is a link in the show notes of this episode where you can join the High Value Women newsletter. This is where you will get updates. You will get new stuff coming, specifically around these topics that I just went through. If you would rather, you can go to Headliner.app and it will be on the main homepage as well. And the link will also be in my Instagram show notes. So there's a few places you can connect with me there. But this is where you're going to get the insider progress, what's going on, what's new. And I have changed the name of our Awakening Women group. It is now the High Value Women Dating and Relationships group. So we're going to be talking about these topics. So this is the new phase. So if you are in this phase where you are out of the relationship and you're wanting to focus on yourself, you want to get yourself good before you even consider bringing in someone else. And that doesn't mean that you're perfect and you're healed and you have nothing you need to work through, because that's bullshit. That will never happen. Never. Like, I have heard this and I've seen this. Women can be single for 10 years and then that one person they end up with is just another unhealthy person. It's not about the time. It's about what you're doing in that time, and also realizing there's relational work and there's self-work. And what comes up in a relationship is not going to come up when you're by yourself with your journal meditating, right? That's self-work. That's soul work. That's doing that inner spirit work and taking care of our bodies and all of that. That's our own work. That is not anything to do with a partner. We do that for us. But the work that we do relationally and how we heal our relationship patterns is in relationship. There's a lot of talk out there about you need to be a healed person before you get into a relationship. What does that even look like? I think there's certain criteria and there are certain things that you should have in place. You certainly shouldn't be dating when you're still living in the same house or still, in a relationship. You shouldn't be jumping in and moving in with someone in the first few months or a couple years. Like, I do think there are some rules we should have for ourselves, but even that's just my personal take on it, because I see that's where women really go wrong, is leaping into things way too fast. And suddenly you have blended your kids and you bought a new house and you've got all these payments, and now what? And that's when the true behavior starts to come out, right? And that is, if we've been through this kind of trauma, relational trauma, that's when I ask women, what is your biggest fear? And it's being tricked again. It's having the rug pulled out, or they turn into someone new when you've committed and you're all in, right? And that is hard shit. If you have never experienced that, thank goodness. But if you're here listening, I'm guessing you have definitely experienced that. And so we're going to be having these conversations. They're going to be real and they're going to be, relatable in such a way that if you and I were sitting having coffee, these are the conversations we would be having. All right. So just wanted to give you that update. What's going on? I have been in my own personal cave and I've been working with a business coach because I've just been feeling this for a long time. Like, I need to let go of this chapter to help women with the next evolution that they are on as well. But I was so afraid. Like, I'm not a dating coach. I'm not a relationship expert. I'm none of these things. So I do this from a place because I'm passionate about it. And I know a lot about what would be required to have a healthy relationship. And I also know how to help women tap into what it is they want. Because if we have some healthy relationship guidelines and intentions that we write for ourselves, that we create for ourselves, it's going to be different than me saying, here's the top 10 rules. It's like, what are your rules? Like, your inner rules, like your boundaries and your limitations, your deal breakers. Something that if you saw that behavior in a person you were dating or in a relationship with, you would run for the hills. It wouldn't be, I'm going to give you 5 more chances to gaslight me and stonewall me for a week. I literally just saw this in another group I was in, that I am in, that I bought a program and I'm just in the Facebook group. Again, I don't participate a lot in these types of groups. I'm more just like reading the stuff. But this woman was talking about how she was in a new relationship and he would just disappear for 2 weeks at a time and wouldn't talk to her. It's like, what can I do to get him to open up? No, you don't do that. You say, sayonara, sucker, like, go, like, get out of here. So to me, it's like, obviously I'm seeing that because I'm at a place where I'd be like, that would not be something I would tolerate for one day. It would be like, do that again and I'm out. And if it happened again, out. You don't just like, oh, how can I get him to open up and fix him? No. So we need to be healthy enough to realize that's not healthy. That is not good for our nervous system. That is not good for our feeling of peace, right? And we set these things up for ourselves. So I'm really good at guiding women toward that. It's always about the soul work. My counseling business, when I first opened my business, was Soul Work Holistic Counseling. And it was very much about this. Like, I don't have all the answers, but I love to help women figure out their own answers. And that's what I will endeavor to do in this new chapter, is share as I'm going what I have learned to help you. And I hope that you're going to come along with me on this journey. And I will see you inside the Facebook group. The link will be given to you once you subscribe to the newsletter. You'll get it in a Facebook email responder once you sign up. All right, that's it for this episode, and I'll chat with you in the next one.
We all have that friend who wakes up early to go get everyone McDonald's breakfast, while the rest of us sleep in. This is your sign to thank them. And if you're that friend, this is us saying thank you.
Just a friendly reminder that right now, get any size iced coffee before 11 a.m. for just 99 cents. And a satisfying sausage McMuffin with egg is just $2.79. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.